What inspired me to start my business? Now, I always wanted to do it when I got into podiatry school because going back to when I was younger, my mom had a lot of foot issues and used to go see the podiatrist. So this podiatrist had his own practice. So I used to go with her all the time to the appointments, and I was like, oh, that's how I got familiar with podiatry. By going to the doctor, his name is Dr. Finkelstein. I used to go to his office a lot and see what he did. I was like, oh, that's good. This is good. I got to eventually, have a practice, my own practice or so. And so when I was in college, I would come back and I shadowed him during my spring break or so and got even more experience. And that's what got me into podiatry school. But once I got into podiatry school and residency, then everything was about joining big practices, joining the hospital. So I kind of changed that from my mindset, but I knew eventually I would want to do that, but I thought that would be 20 years down the line. But once I had my girls, and then I went from one practice to another, I was like, you know what? I kind of want to get back to what I originally wanted to do, and that was open my own practice. And now I got young girls. This is the best time to do it because they won't know anything else other than me having this practice. They have me and mommy starting a practice. So when the girls came, I was like, I need to do this. Not only for the family, but for the girls too. I'd rather do it when they're young. They have no clue what's going on than while they're in middle school and high school, and that transition may not be easy. But when they're little kids, they're not gonna know any difference. My 7-year-old likes dance and art and things like that. My 4-year-old, she's 4, but they do know, but they do think they don't think it's like they think it's our office. They call it our office. The proudest achievement is where I am right now. I thought I was going to be that way 5 years from after 5 years. So I surpassed what I wanted to do 2 years earlier than I thought I was going to do. So all my projections, everything I thought I was going to do prior to starting, I surpassed that in 2023. So I thought it was going to take me a minimum of 5 years to get to where I was in 2023. Yeah, my residency director, Dr. Thomas Merrill, he's retiring this year. I know I would call him a lot of times, ask for advice, not only just for surgery and podiatry, but business-wise and things like that. So he was a good mentor. My dad, he knows a lot about businesses, and he helps with small practices get business loans and all that. So he's helped me with the financial aspect of this, of this practice. He's mentored me a lot about with that. Same with my brother, who works for my dad. So they've also mentored me about the financial aspect of a practice in general or so. Currently, so I got some new mentors with REM, Dr. Joel Foster. He kind of showed me the ins and out of from starting from scratch. So those are my two mentors right there. I talk to a lot right now. I don't see a lot of us doing it.
Mm-hmm.
I see most. I do have friends that are doing it, but the new ones that are, I guess, the ones I'm seeing coming out, I'm seeing a lot of them joining practices. So maybe like how I was, maybe not knowing, fearful of the unknown. There's already not a lot of us in podiatry, and the ones that I see coming up, they're trying to join practices. I remember my first day, I had one patient. I was like, oh my God, I got a long ways to go.
Yeah.
What? And I was like, man, that is nobody else, no other practice gave me that patient. Like that patient came to see me at Optimum Podiatry. As I look back at it, it was like, it's really not that hard. It's just patience. You know what I mean? Just a little bit of patience, and okay, you're gonna have a couple first few months of uncomfortability with trying to build up. But if you're using that time wisely to market, to work on your website, to go visit primary care physicians and internal medicine physicians and getting on at the hospital and taking call, it's going to start sticking. You're going to start getting patients. I would love to do it. It's just, I'm in the young phase. I'm trying to find a new office with more space. You know what I mean? So trying to get more staff. So I know I eventually will, but I'm still building myself. So.
Yeah.
Athletes, I know what type of training they do. I know the issues they're going to have with their feet. So I can talk to, especially I can talk to them not only about foot issues, but health issues and overuse issues that correlate with the foot. Not only make their feet better, but how to also improve their performance, um, starting with their feet and their lower extremities or so. So that's a unique perspective. Another thing is, I know me, I'm always trying to stay as much as I can ahead of what the typical podiatrist is doing. That's why I got with Rim. I didn't want to do what the average podiatrist was doing. I wanted to be better and I wanted to be ahead of the game. That's why I got with Rim. That's why I wasn't trying to figure this out on my own. Let me find out who's ahead of who's already got doctors doing something different that's more effective, and let me get mentored with that. Surgery is another thing. I don't tip now. I wanted to what's the new surgical trend coming up? And I know minimally invasive surgery. So I've been doing minimally invasive surgery, since I opened the practice or so. But I wanted to get ahead of what's a typical podiatrist doing and what's coming up in the future. I want to do what's going to happen in the future. So I'm always trying to stay ahead and not just do what the average podiatrist is doing. I do surgical procedures in office, minimally invasive surgeries, hammer toes, bunions, Taylor's bunions, midfoot osteotomies, things like that. I'm doing things in office. I'm trying to rely more on cash for not only just for products, but also for the procedures in office. I know it's a process, but I'm trying to focus more on cash services and those self-pay patients. Man, I will actually block off more time to give them more time to talk. With the self-pay, I give patients discounts and things like that, because they're self-pay. Well, one, I don't know if my kids will ever be podiatrists or doctors. I don't know that, but I would like them to eventually be able to own a business or so. So I want them to already have a business. I want them to already have a business mindset from kids all the way up into adults. So I want to create that legacy of, okay, this is what mommy and daddy had a business. I need to do the same thing. And this is how they did it. So this is how I learn from them to implement to starting my own business eventually. I would like to, I know it's hard because I got my practice going, but I would like to be sort of like Dr. Cowans was innovative. And he taught the newer podiatrists so much where they're better physicians because of it. Number one is to get a new office space, 8 rooms, and one of the rooms I want it to be a minimally invasive surgical room. That's number one. That's my first goal. My second goal, $1 million practice. The third goal, that's in the future. I don't know about bringing anybody else in, but my third goal is where the practice pretty much runs itself, where I'm able to work 4 days and then take some time off to spend time with my family too. So more free time with my daughters. Right now, I want to stay solo. I definitely am considering bringing in a physician assistant or maybe a nurse practitioner. But right now, I enjoy being a solo practitioner. I actually enjoy it. Advice I would give. So number one, I would say the biggest thing is have a skill. Have a skill, something that you can build off of. Number one, have a skill. And then before you jump right into entrepreneurship, get some experience with that skill in the business aspect of that skill, whether it be 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Get some experience with enhance your skill and get some business experience. Then once you do that, not say leave what you're doing and jump right into it, but slowly start to prepare for your business little by little to the point where, okay, now I need to spend full time with my business, leave where you're going, and then grow your business. I'm not about to say just, okay, now go right into it. That's you got to have a business plan. You got to have a plan when it comes to your skill. You got to have a plan, and you got to enhance it and learn first before you jump right into it. I didn't have the best grades coming out of college because I was an athlete. But close to a 3.0. It was decent, but not competitive for podiatry school, because at the time wasn't very easy to get in at that point too. So what I did was I found one of the podiatry schools, Barry in Miami. I found that they had a biomedical science program where you can get a master's in that, and then I see that a lot of students would go from that into podiatry school. So I took of course I took the MCAT, didn't do so great, but I took the GRE and I did pretty well. And so I got into and that right there, and I studied for the GRE, and doing well in GRE got me into that biomedical science program. It wasn't for me testing well that GRE, I probably wouldn't have gotten into that biomedical science program. Came out with like a 3.9 GPA. I did really well. Retook the study for the MCAT again with Kaplan, did a lot better, and then I applied to the podiatry school at Barry and got in. So I didn't go right from college to podiatry school. I had to take some time to study for the GRE, take the GRE, and I did the biomedical science program for 2 years, got the master's, took the MCAT, and applied to Barry Podiatry School, and then I got in there. And that's the thing. A lot of people give up because I don't have a 4.0 when I got coming out of college. I'm like, it's not the end of the road. You could have had, like, I could have had a 2.5 or so coming out of college, but if you just take the time to prepare for the GRE, do well, or take the time to prepare for the MCAT, do well, you greatly increase your chances of getting into the medical school of your choice. And that's the route I chose. And yeah. When I first moved out here in 2015, and I joined a group. This group used her company, the surgical assistant group that she managed. They used her the surgical assistant from her group in surgery. And so from the get-go, I met her from the start when I first moved here, because a lot of those surgical assistants assisted me in surgery because we don't have residents or anything like that. Their office was literally right across the parking lot from where our office was. And we were together ever since. Soulmates, basically.